Hi, my name is Joey Musterman. I'm one of the band directors in Sullivan, Missouri. I wanted to take a minute and show you guys how we teach rhythm to our, especially middle school students, just in case you maybe struggle with rhythm a little bit. Hopefully, some of these tips will help you get a better grasp on it. We are going to start by assuming that we all understand what 4/4 time means, meaning we have 4 beats per measure and a quarter note gets 1 beat, and that we know that a quarter note gets 1 beat, a half note gets 2 beats, and a whole note gets 4 beats. So we'll start with a very simple set of rhythms here. And the way we have a kind of twofold approach to how we write rhythms. When we start, we make sure that every single beat is always written out. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is going to be written in every measure. So for a quarter note, that's really easy. First beat is 1, then 2, then 3, and 4. Piece of cake so far. Our half notes, we know that they each get 2 beats. So our first beat, when the note starts, is going to be a big 1, just like it was for our quarter note. But because count 2 still exists inside this half note, we still write count 2 so that we know that it is still there when we're counting and clapping, or maybe we're just playing and counting in our head. We know that count 2 is still here. So we write a small 2 inside of our half note. So I've got 1, 2. My next half note's going to start on count 3, and because it's the beginning of a note, it's a big 3. Count 4, again, just like count 2, exists inside this half note, so I write a small 4. My whole note works the same way. I start with count 1 because that's where the note starts. Counts 2, 3, and 4 all still exist. They're just inside that whole note, so I write them small. 2, 3, 4. That might look pretty familiar to you. We add an extra step. We add in what our foot is doing during each of these notes as well. So if you turn a metronome on and you start tapping your foot, it goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Every time it goes down, when your foot hits the floor, that's a downbeat, right? That's one of our beats. And then the foot has to go back up before it can come down again. So we draw what our foot does for each one of these notes. For a quarter note, it goes down and back up before it goes to our next beat, where it'll go down, up again, down, up, down, up. Every time we start a new note, just like when we started a new note with our counts, we had a big number. Every time we start a new note with our foot pattern, we start a new line, and we keep that line connected as long as that note is sustained. That means for our half note, we're going to draw down up for 1, down up for 2, but we're not going to lift our pencil between them. So it'll look like this: down, up, down, up. For 3, 4, it'll be the same way: down, up, down, up. I have 4 numbers in my measure because I have 4 counts. I also have 4 downs. A whole note then is going to look very similar, except I'm going to connect everything because the whole measure is taken up by that whole note. I'll have down up for 1, down up for 2, down up for 3, down up for 4. Rests are going to work the exact same way, except we put them in parentheses. So my counts are going to be the same: 1, 2, 3, 4. My foot patterns are going to be the same: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But because these rests, these silences in our music, again, they still exist. I can't just clap 3, 4. Counts 1 and 2 are still here. We put them in parentheses along with the foot patterns so that we know that they're still there. They're just going to be silent. So you don't have to do it this way. We just like to do it this way because we feel it gives our kids a good handle on what the count structure looks like and relates it to what your foot is doing. A lot of times when we introduce new rhythm concepts, we there will be kids that struggle with the coordination part, the actual clapping, the counting and clapping at the same time. They don't necessarily get that right away. It might take them a couple days of practice, but most of our kids are familiar with this enough now that they immediately, or by the end of the first class, understand how the counts and the foot patterns fit with the notes, even if they can't do the actual coordinated clapping part yet. So it's a way for them to really, and maybe for you to feel like you kind of understand the rhythm, and it breaks it down in a way in smaller chunks that maybe you feel is more manageable.